G'day guys, my name's Brendan and welcome back to another episode of On Point Adventures. Now this one is a real different one, and this one was sparked by, I guess, a couple of comments that we get regularly on the channel. And we just want to touch base on really what YouTube as a fishing content creator is really like. Now I got to thinking about this as I was washing off the quad from last night's surf session. Now once again, the surf session we had last night, we were once again searching for new ground, which is, I guess, the number one point I want to start with on this video. Now, a lot of guys think that everything that we do in the fishing realm, we're filming 100%. And this simply isn't true. We fish a lot on a personal level without the complications of cameras, without the stress of trying to get good content, without spending 4 hours to do a 20-minute trip down the beach because you're constantly in and out of a car trying to get film angles and so forth. Okay, and the comment we get a lot is like, oh, you don't catch great fish and you don't do that and you don't do this. Well, yeah, okay, I guess you're right on a level. However, what you guys don't see is the behind the scenes with any fishing content creator. Of course, we don't nail a million fish on camera. That's simply not true. We need to film when the conditions are right, not when the conditions are optimal. And what's the difference there? The conditions need to be no wind, no weed, bugger all swell, blah, 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 environmental factors come in. And we also have to film when we've got a massive time block to put aside for that fishing. Okay, so what that means is when you're fishing, I guess, spontaneously without cameras, you can just make that 1 hour trip and go catch those awesome fish. I guess kind of like this tailor here. Okay, now that tailor that I've just put up there, that was never ever caught on film. Was never going to be caught on film. That was a 20-minute quick sprint down the beach and we got it. We didn't have the complications of setting up cameras and doing this, doing that, making sure light levels were correct and doing whatever. It's the same with that snapper up there behind me. So that snapper there, meter 13, that one went. Now that takes us to the next bit of this video, which is the spots we fish. Now in this series that I've created, and we're up to almost part 3. Part 3 will release Saturday coming. We have purposely started to ignore our spots that we know produce a heck of a lot of fish. Why are we doing that? Farming fish is a great idea. So what I mean by farming fish is don't put all your eggs in one basket and constantly keep flogging the same spot and the same spot and the same spot. Lately, I've been fishing areas that I would never usually look at, or something that looks slightly good that I'd always drive past to get to my spots which I know are going to produce. Now, we've been doing it pretty tough, okay? We've got a baby pink, a ton of eagle rays, an absolute ton of them. Me and Rush Gang got into the eagle rays the other week, and oh my God, did we have some problems there. And even the one that's coming up this week, I'm not going to let it go. It was the most healthy looking gutter, and it's one that's going to absolutely fire. But it's also one that produced two absolutely great fish. However, the weed moved in real quick. And that brings me back to what I was originally saying with the environmental factors. As soon as that weed moved in, we were at the point of the night where we could pack down, move up the beach to a new spot, reset up. But that was going to take probably 2 hours to do. So as you can see, it's not as simple as just throwing your rods on the roof rack, getting your car, piss off up the beach, and start fishing a new spot within 15 minutes. It's simply not that easy when you're filming for YouTube. Okay, now I get a lot of guys are getting a ton of good snapper because they're using stuff like that behind me, the aeroo. The aeroo really does provide a super unfair advantage when it comes to fishing, okay? The aeroo is an absolutely quality bit of kit, and to be honest with you, I'm not taking any credit away from droners because I love droning, and to me, I find it an exceptionally great bit of kit to help me get onto a lot more snapper. Now, so we've covered, of course, why you may not see as many fish on YouTube, fish we've caught off the cameras and so forth. And I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that, it's not as clear as day as it looks a lot of the time. Now we go across to the boat. We like setting ourselves challenges on boats. And I mean, if you go back through our content, you'll see our fair share of fantastic fish on the boat. But the latest challenge that we've taken on was the Polycraft 410, but challenging and taking it to deeper water and really getting stuck into some larger fish. Okay, and we've done that. We had a fantastic snapper episode. It was brilliant. We got a lot of good fish. But once again, we've set ourselves challenges, which means that polycraft can't be on the water as much as we want. Unluckily for me, where I live, we rely on fairly low swells to get the boat in the water because of beach launching and so forth. And we've got a super ripping current that pulls across. So we're limited for our days to get that boat in the water. And that's also provided that, of course, we haven't already planned to go land-based fishing or so forth. But once again, by setting ourselves these goals, not only do we set ourselves up for a lot better fish, a lot larger fish with a lot more impressive captures, but it also sets us up for a hell of a lot more failure. I mean, for argument's sake, we were time poor one morning. I was out with a very good friend of mine. We were trawling for mackies. We packed it in because our time was done. We had stuff to do. 5 minutes later, the boat we were trawling next to, which was Peter Fullerton's boat, sailfish and a mackie in the next hour. Them the breaks. Are we upset? No. Would I have loved to have brought that content to you? Absolutely. But it happens. You know? It doesn't matter. You've also got to put into perspective, I guess, the reality of YouTube. We don't YouTube full time, okay? We're not lucky enough to do that. We have families. As you can see behind me, the gyprock still needs finishing off, flushing and so forth, because we're building our own house at the moment. How good's that? However, it takes up a ton of time. So we also have to throw in the family factors of kids, football, school, work, everything else. Where I'd like to leave you with this is, there's a fantastic YouTuber. In fact, my favourite YouTuber on the platform is Briggsy. You need to go watch some of Briggsy's stuff. Now, Briggsy explains it perfectly in one of his videos. And he explains that fishing videos aren't all about catching a million fish. In fact, catching a fish, even in a fishing video, is a positive constellation of what we're trying to achieve. It's more about the adventure of getting in, checking it out, finding new zones, and having an epic time with mates, which is what On Point Adventures is all about. If I really, really wanted to bring you guys massive fish with no adventure and nothing else, I would simply go buy a bigger boat than the 410 poly, like the 480 Centurion I had, or bigger again. I'd be out on that bank where I took Cameron to in the Centurion, and we banged big dewies that day. So, I mean, we proved in there by using bigger boats that facilitate greater areas to access, we can turn big fish. But that's not what On Point's about. Once again, let's go back to the adventure. And that's what Briggsy explains. Briggsy explains that first and foremost with any of these channels, it's about the adventure. Now, we don't just produce YouTube content for ourselves, but what I want to really point out to conclude this video is the main reason we do YouTube is this. Share our epic journeys for years and years to come so our kids could even go back on it and our mates can go back on it and we can go back on it. Bring you guys not so much epic content to the point of heaps of fish, but we endeavour to sort of show you the basics of fishing and the processes we have to go through and the hardship to really find those fish. So for argument's sake, search 1, 2 and even 3, not a great deal of fish, but you guys see what we go through and what we look for to find these fish, and we will turn results once we really get onto it. Once again, I could go back to my tried and trusted spots and kill it, but that would take the fun and adventure out of it. Third, the adventure. I do YouTube because I love the outdoors. To me, catching fish is a bonus, but first and foremost, the adventure to actually getting there, especially with this quad, is what it's all about to me. Using the quad, we go through a lot of highs and lows, just trying to get to spots, but we're now accessing spots that other people aren't going to. And I mean, granted, some of these spots we're fishing, people probably don't want to go to because they're not producing great fish at the moment. However, we will come across that diamond in the rough. And no one found their spots the first go unless you were super lucky. Grinding is all part of fishing, guys. So if you're struggling on the beach, don't let that deter you. And certainly don't let the people going, I catch a million fish all the time, deter you from what you're doing. Because they've worked hard and they're probably pretty talented guys. And they've found these spots through hard work and determination. If they say they haven't, they're lying. They've worked hard just like the rest of us. And the fourth reason I do this, I guess, it helps clears the mind. When we're doing YouTube, it clears your mind. You've got something to think about. You forget about your weekly woes and you get on with some cool stuff. And above all else, what helps you forget the weekly woes the most is you get to catch up with some incredible people. So through my journey, I've met guys like Chris Dixon from Dixon's Fishing. I've met Jack Rush. Unbelievable dude. I fished with Jordan B from Jordan B Fishing. Now, these guys may not have the biggest channels, and these are all guys that, as I said, are super cool YouTubers. Not the best in the world or not the biggest in the world, but just all round good blokes. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve out of all this as well. So how I'd like to conclude this video is this. Thank you very much for watching my content. I apologize if we're not always bringing you the biggest and best content. However, what I'm hoping I'm bringing to you is educational series that doesn't necessarily show you a million fish, but shows you how to get into the fish. That's important because step one of fishing isn't catching a million fish. It's having fun and getting along with your mates. So anyway, guys, I hope this episode sort of brings a bit of light into what we do as YouTubers. And gives you a bit of an insight of the struggles that we feel sometimes and how catching fish isn't as simple as just going recreationally, because to produce 10 to 20 minute videos really takes hours and hours of setup, hours of pack up, hours of editing, and the list goes on. Hope you understand, and I really hope if you're an upcoming YouTuber that this is even helpful to you, because I reckon it might be. Don't get disheartened. Enjoy the outdoors and have a great day. See you later, guys.